Our next speaker is Alistair Cowden, Executive Chairman of Firefinch Limited. Alistair has spent more than 35 years as a mining executive and geologist, during which time he has been part of the discovery, financing and development of many mines in Australia, Africa, Asia and Europe. He's currently a director of TSX-listed Copper Mountain Mining Corporation, a major copper gold producer in Canada. He's founded 8 public companies, including Altona Mining, which built and sold the Kailahti copper gold mine in Finland prior to its $250 million merger with Copper Mountain. Alistair holds an honours degree in geology from Edinburgh University and a PhD in geology from the University of London. Please welcome Alistair Cowden.
Thank you very much, Liam. Good afternoon, everyone. And I'd like to thank the organisers. As I looked around the room, I had a thought. I think we can enhance this conference. We're missing an award. Africa's a vibrant and colourful place. We need a colourful sock award, because it's the only one I'm going to win. Anyway, today I'm going to talk to you about Firefinch. As of Friday, we trade under the name Firefinch and the code FFX. Currently, we're Mali Lithium, and the reason for this pivot and change is that 2 months ago, we reached agreement with Barrick and AngloGold to buy the Morila Gold Mine in Mali, and that transaction closes on Friday. Don't worry about that. Oh, there we go, did it wrong. Just very quickly, the purchase of Morila was very, very successful. The market embraced it. We just closed a few weeks ago, raising $74 million to go towards the purchase price and the working capital for the mine. So you can see there, today, at today's price, we're a $120 million company. Maybe 6 months ago, we were well under $15 million company. So it's been an enormous transformation in the company brought around by Morila. But we have 2 assets. We went to Mali many years ago, and then about 5 years ago, we acquired a lithium asset. And there's been a lot of work on that. And only a month or so ago, we announced the results of a definitive feasibility study on Goulamina. This asset is world class, absolutely world class. It stands shoulder to shoulder, if not better, than most of the potential producers here in Western Australia. Very simple, robust project. It's going to make an awful lot of money, and we're in a situation where the lithium markets are somewhat depressed. So what we're doing is we no longer have a gun at our head. We don't have to rush into this, and we're going to take a time to do a strategic review and look for the best way forward for this asset. It's worth an awful lot of money, and basically, in our share price, the way it's moved on, this is effectively a free lithium option. And I encourage you, if you're at all interested in battery metals, have a look at this. Dead simple, big, simple, fat, high-grade ore body, great product, very straightforward, and one day it will be worth an awful lot of money. But on to Morila. Some of you may know of Morila. Morila was essentially the foundation asset of Randgold, and where Mark Bristow made his name with the discovery of it 20-odd years ago. It was a fantastic mine. It was known as Morila the Gorilla because it was just absolutely fantastic. Second year, 4.5 million tonne a year plant. It produced 1.2 million ounces. There was 1 week where the head grade was 80 grams for the whole week. It was just an amazing mine. So the opportunity for us, I think, as Liam alluded to earlier, there's a lot of people in this town made an awful lot of money out of buying assets from majors, and I'm hopeful we'll be one of them. But the asset's producing gold now. It's been doing stockpiles and tailings for some 10 years. It's still doing that now, and it's cash flow positive. An operation like this has had a lot of sunk capital. There's probably $50 million worth of drilling that we're piggybacking on. And to replicate something like this would be $300 million US plus, the amount of infrastructure. It's a full scale, it's 4.5 million tonne a year plant in a remote part of Africa. So you have a whole bunch of infrastructure there. So what are we going to do with it? It's only probably doing something like 40, 50,000 ounces a year with the tailings, with a limited life. We're going to grow that production, firstly from satellite pits and then the main Morila pit itself, and I'll show you those shortly. But the other thing is, I'm a very simple man. I'm a geologist. I've been involved in some nice little gold projects here in the West and elsewhere. these mines don't go away. This is already endowed with 8.7 million ounces, and it's not really well understood where it goes. A lot of work to be done, and we've got a big exploration footprint. And the other thing is, we're now funded. We'll be giving Barrick and AngloGold some money on Friday, but probably left with somewhere around 30 million working capital once that's done. Pump up the volume. So what do you reckon? We're paying $27 million for all that. I reckon the scrap value is about double that. Great buying. Best buying you can do in deal making is from a receiver or from a major. Ask Bill at Northern Star. But anyway, we've got this fantastic infrastructure to leverage on. There's some issues. It's an old plant. It's been lacking in care and attention. Well, not care and attention, preventative maintenance. Big workforce there that are producing gold already. Needs to be bolstered in mining and geology, and we're well underway on that. And we're getting everyone re-established with essentially a new culture, our culture compared to the old Randgold. And they were in closure mode for many years. So this is something that needs energy and excitement, and we're bringing that. Well underway in getting everything ready and assessed such that we can get this thing going again. There's a bunch of work to be done. Power station, probably the most obvious. We heard Stuart talk about Resolute's power station, exactly the same vintage, same gear as one they're replacing. We'll be doing the same thing. Whoop. So just a quick shot of the tailings processing. Looks a bit like a mineral sands operation, and it's not that much different. They're putting through 5 million tons a year through the plant doing that, but only for another 7 or 8 months. And we've got a rig there shortly. Hopefully we can extend that life for a little longer, but that'll give us at least 17, maybe 20 million US of cash flow for the remainder of its life. But then we can bring in these little satellite pits. There's up to 4 of them. These 2 were sold by this company long before I joined to Randgold when they were running Morila. And they produced around 100,000 ounces of gold in the past, essentially only taking the top off them. And hopefully we can restart those in the early part of next year, lift throughput, increase the amount of gold coming through. And we're doing all the work now, resources, reserves, schedules, designs, and we'll release costs and so forth around those in due course. Haul roads in place. This is they're on a mining license. There's really not a lot to be done here, and this people in this town know how to do this stuff, and as do the guys on site. So the big one, Morila. This is a massive pit. It's now filled with water and depositing tailings in it for at least another day. We'll stop that as soon as we get control, and the tailings will go back to the tailings dam. But this thing has been neglected for many, many reasons. Barrick and AngloGold only own 40% of it, so there's not a great incentive for them. But there's not been a proper geology team there for maybe since late 2000s. It's done 7.5 million ounces. It's going to do a lot more. And here's an example. This is an old AngloGold model, which we're currently replacing. It's got a very conservative 1250 an ounce pit around that model. And it's some 1.3 million ounces and falls within it. We called it inferred because we didn't have time to do the validation. That's all happening now, and a new number will be coming from Morila very, very soon. And you can see the purple is the high grade that it used to mine. You'll see in the next slide, with a bit of luck. Some of the things that drove Morila the gorilla. If you look there towards the deepest part of the pit, the stuff they were mining, 44 meters at 17 and 84 meters at 11. This was a great mine. Now, my contention is that it will take us time that doesn't just happen once. You're in a big gold field. There's more of this kind of stuff around. And you can see off to the left there, the bottom right of the pit, some of the intersections outside the pit, 56 meters at 5 grams, just outside the pit. Now, we're currently modeling all that, going to come up with new numbers, and then get in there, start pumping, start drilling, and away we go. I don't ever see us not having drill rigs here. It's a fantastic opportunity. And remember, all this, Barrick had basically, and AngloGold reached the view in the late 2000s, gold price was down, anything that fell outside the pit, not classified as a resource, no one's thought about it since, effectively. Probably a little unfair, but it's a good story. Just a little on the regional exploration potential. We have 700 square kilometers. Our in this was that we surrounded Morila, the guys who ran the company before me many years ago, picked up a great package of ground, they made smaller discoveries, sold them in. But to consolidate the ground was 700 square kilometers. Much of the exploration style is what we were doing here in the West 20, 30 years ago. Deeply weathered terrains and shallow drill tests. Sometimes it works, and we find big mines. Sometimes it doesn't. There's a lot of work to be doing here, and over many years we'll be going straight in, drilling those satellite pits to feed the production in front of us. We'll be going to Morila to, again, infill and extend that. But in the long term, we'll be looking for big extensions to Morila and this regional exploration potential. So, very simply, our plan at Morila, we're completing the acquisition in a few days, and as any of you have ever done one of these transactions, there's quite a bit involved. Our first task is don't break anything. Keep it going. There's a whole bunch of really good people there. They know their asset. They know how it works. Let's keep those tailings going. Let's keep that cash flow going, and let's put that cash flow to work, generating growth. All the money was leaving site up until now. And then see if we can extend that tailings life, then get onto those satellite pits, infill, extend, and start mining them. And hopefully we'll see a substantial lift straight away from an annualized throughput of 50,000 ounces a year to something much larger than that. We have a lot to do to ramp up production. As I said, resource and reserve estimates for the big Morila pit, something that's been neglected for that long. The databases are not perfect. We've fixed all that. So we're getting in there, making all that work. And over this next few months, it's going to be very rich in news flow, resource, reserve upgrades, and costs and schedules and so forth. That mining, I'm hopeful we're going to start doing the mining tender process now, and hopefully that we can get into those pits early next year. We'll just see how it all goes. As I said, there's haul roads and so forth there, a bunch of logistics, but they shouldn't be that hard. Marilla itself is just a question of pumps, bit of dredging, and we can get into that pit again. Moving tailings around, as slurring things up is a relatively low-cost process, and we've built that into our estimates, and we'll be in there. And we need to refurbish that power station. We'll probably use temporary power in the interim, but then we'll be up looking at a solution probably very similar to Resolute's. So bringing back Morila, if he wasn't such an awful man, the phrase here is make Morila great again. But bringing Morila back again, it's just a fantastic mine, and it's a privilege for people like us to take on a legacy like that. This has built a major company. Mark Bristow is running Barrick today because of that mine. That's what made his career, and I think it can do it again. We can build this thing back 4.5 million ton a year. If our grade's 1.5 or whatever, you do the maths. I can't do them in public because the ASX won't like it, speculating on what we might do, but you can see it's a substantial throughput. We're already 30 million tons in a very back of the envelope resource estimate. You can see we could have a decade at least of production ahead of us. And then we'll be out there doing exploring. So I might just finish up there by talking about our little logo. What the Firefinch is around Mali, there are these little finches. They've got a bright red breast, and they're everywhere. They're just they're persistent and colorful, and also they have fun. So one of the things that I want to do is have some fun and make some money. So thank you very much.